Commissioners Workshop for January 11th, 2020 to order. I want to welcome everybody here today. We'll begin the meeting with the invocation and the pledge given by Commissioner Turner. So if you're able, please stand. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this glorious day and all the wonders in it, Father God. We just thank you for the opportunity to gather here as commissioners and staff and concerned citizens, Father God, just to discuss some issues going on in Putnam County, Father God. Just give us the wisdom to make the correct decisions for all the Putnam County citizens. In Jesus we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Turner. We've got 3 minutes. I think what we'll do, Michael, if you're ready, we'll go ahead and skip the Port Authority for right now, and we'll move down to the BOCC workshop. And we've got Michael Leonard with the Palaca Daily News to go over the renewal of the Positively Putnam project.
Lovely assistant, Mary Kay.
Yes,
Thank you,
Mary
Commissioners.
Kay, I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Kay.
Thank you.
Staff, Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity. I am pleased to have with me Director of Advertising Mary Kay Wells of the Palaca Daily News team. Many of you may know Mary Kay, a native of the county. Has been with our newspaper for many, many years. And she and our graphics coordinator, Jeanette Eveland, are integral in the assembling of the Positively Putnam program and its carrying out. So thank you to the County Commission for being a partner in Positively Putnam from its genesis. You will recall that this program began in April of 2020. And since that time, we have each month steadily carried forward a program of positive good works for the citizens of Putnam County, and also on a daily basis in our newspaper, positive stories that carry the Positively Putnam logo. This banner is on the top of the front page every single day. Inside the paper is a quarter-page ad that has a message about something that is a Putnam County superlative, and the logos, the signature marks of all the partners in the group are included there as well. We have in front of you today both the logo and all the partners from 2021. All these folks have rejoined for 2022. With the exception, of course, I'm presenting to you folks today. I present to City Commission at their next meeting, and we're still waiting to hear from a couple of the private company partners here. But I think we're at 9 renewals right now. So we expect to have a full complement again for 2022. And to my left, you're right, is it's a check whenever we give a donation through Positively Putnam to a organization in Putnam County. We use this oversized check. What we've done for today is to show the impact over the 2 years, actually 1 year and 9 months. So we did the math, and we've given slightly over $60,000 to the citizens of Putnam County through the program. As you're familiar from your past association with Positively Putnam, the partnerships each month give a portion to the program, and part of that goes into a project fund. So that is what these dollars represent. So in the folder that Mary Kay gave you, there's a recap of what the Positively Putnam FL program has done from its beginning in April of 2020. And you'll see here the groups that we've given to. It has been throughout Putnam County. We have involved folks in the south end of the county, in the Interlochen area in Hollister, through Palatka, even sometimes specifically with donations to things like Interlochen Soup Kitchen or to South Putnam Christian Service Center. And then when we do something, for instance, with Epic Cure or something else that's more of a county-wide impact, they may be physically located in Palatka, but the folks that come through that line at Epic Cure, which I'm sure you folks have seen it, it stretches a good mile down Highway 17. Those folks are from all over the county. So what we do when we help out at Epicure, which we have done with donations, impacts folks throughout Putnam County. So I would tell you that we see the impact and the effect of what Positively Putnam does on a regular basis. We did a decal promotion this past year, and we still give out those Positively Putnam decals. Mary Kay, what was it, $2,000 or $3,000 in $50 bills we gave out to folks who had that Positively Putnam decal on their window of their car. And we find those vehicles, we contact folks, and we give them, you know, the money to display that, to continue to promote that message. I remember some years ago, these things were very popular that people would put on their back windows. It had 3 letters in it. For instance, Putnam County may have had one that was like, may have said PCO. Outer Banks was OBX. You'd see those in people's windows. Well, this is kind of the same thing. It's sort of branding Putnam County, but it's branding Putnam County with a positive brand. So we believe there's great value in the program. We have included what we project for the body of work for this coming year. We have scaled back the actual number of projects, but are doubling up on the impact of each month and each project that we do. And we want to end the year, and this is Mary Kay's brainchild, so I'll let her speak to it, with a sort of a snow day in Putnam project. Mary Kay, you want to give them a recap on that?
We want to bring in slides.
You gotta go to the mic.
Yeah, please go to the mic.
Sorry. I have contacted someone that will make snow, and they also have a slide. We have a choice of a slide and snow, or kind of an ice skate rink and snow. So we haven't figured out the exact what we're bringing, but we'd like to do that. And if we do that, that would require us with the city, we want to do it down around the riverfront. It also would require, and I'll plug this now, some volunteers. They bring the stuff in, but as far as the slide and like getting the ice skates out and things like that, we would need volunteers for that. So we'd need probably 12 people in shifts, depending on how long we hold it, to help with the slides, getting the inner tubes and the things that go down, because they don't provide that. They provide the other stuff, but not that.
So the model, thank you, that we've looked at has 2 slides. So, and that would be restricted to youth, and what, I think 12 and under, something like that? But there would also be a large pad or area adjacent to the slide where folks of all ages could be. So children could go down the slide, and their parents or siblings who are older could be in that other play area and have an opportunity to do something that most folks in our county have never done before, and that's see and play in snow. It would create a lasting memory, and we just think it's a fun thing to do. It's not a traditional Positively Putnam project, but I think it is something that is worthwhile as well.
We would also open that out to food vendors if they wanted to come down for the night and sell food or
Yep.
food away or just part of it.
We would offer the opportunity also to representatives of the partners to initiate the snow day in Putnam and be the first ones out there tossing snowballs or building a snowman. The chairman might be the person to come out there and do that.
Might have,
Ride the slide,
might have to
I'm
pa-
gonna video it.
I might have to pass that off to the vice chair.
Well, you might not be chair when that time comes, so you never know. Wait for it to be cold enough.
Right.
Do any of you, including the administrator or staff, have any questions about what we presented here?
Yeah. Commissioner Harvey?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate it. Mr. Leonard, Ms. Wells, thank you for coming. I'm fully on board with this. Put the signs on the county vehicles that we control here. I'd like to see them on all county vehicles. I think it's a good story to tell. Positively Putnam just means positively Putnam to me. And I think it's good. It's already an item we've already budgeted for this coming budget. We've already approved our budget.
Ooh, don't tell him that yet.
Okay. Commissioner Turner doesn't want
How
me
do you
to
do
know-
that? You cover your ears and your eyes and your nose all at the same time?
But I think it's well worth I think it just sends a good message that we're a partner and we want to be positively Putnam. You know, I told a story this morning and I was at the ER last Monday night and people are excited in the ER about the path this county is going in. And that was unsolicited. I didn't ask them. You know, they just came up and said, really feel good about the way the county's moving in the direction we're moving in. So thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Commissioner Turner?
Okay, so, on front page, it says renewing partner 675, so it's 8,100 a year, is that correct?
Yes, sir. Whatever that math comes to.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve this cost for $8,100 a year.
I second it.
Okay, we got a proper motion, proper second. Commissioner Rawls, you have comments?
We just went through a scenario. Are you guys considered a nonprofit or a for-profit?
We try to be a profit.
Okay, all right.
Try hard,
Sure.
huh?
Yes,
Does
sir.
there need to be a MOU or some sort of contract between them and us? With Lee Conley House, who lost money because there was nothing in writing and had that,
I think that's what this is, isn't it? A memorandum of understanding of what they're gonna accomplish?
Right, the purchase order and then their monthly invoices will constitute a reoccurring deliverable.
so they don't have to have although with Lee Conley House, it had to be a contract or an MOU.
So it didn't specifically speak to a contract in lieu of some sort of deliverable or monthly tangible item, then there is some expectation of a contract. So we operate in a lot of different realms, as long as you can have a tangible for what you're paying for.
I just want to make sure we're not going to have something come back later and, okay.
Yeah.
Good question, but I think Julianne's absolutely correct. It's, you know, we're getting the deliverable each month along with the invoice of what's been conducted in the business where the dollars are allocated.
That's fine. When is the snow day? When are you, this
next
year or
December.
next,
December of '22.
next December?
If we do it midweek, it costs less than doing it on the weekend, so we're gonna try to do midweek.
So we're aiming for,
We're aiming for after Christmas.
Yeah.
The person that I contact, they do a lot of counties and a lot of cities, and they have first dibs on coming back and taking up those dates. So they said the time between after Christmas and New Year's, if we could pick one of those days, we probably would get it. They put that out in September. They have until a certain time, I think it's the end of September, to get back, the cities and the counties do. And once they do, then we can go pick the date that we'd like it to be.
The reason I ask is the city had something this year called Jingle Jam, which is their first, would this not go with that?
Well, depending on if they're, we can coordinate the dates together. Michael and I talked about going to them and asking them if they would like to, let's put it all together. But it's gonna depend on when they wanna do it, because they may wanna do it prior to Christmas.
They do.
And when we can actually get the snowmaking equipment in.
our objective would be to do it on a weekday between Christmas and New Year. But as Mary Kay is saying, we don't know for certain yet. I will tell you that when I spoke to Mayor Hill regarding the program and appearing on the City Commission's agenda, we discussed Snow Day, and he seemed to like the idea and was interested in the city being a part of it. Obviously, he didn't make a firm commitment, but, I think that he sees the value in it and the good fun for folks in the county.
I asked for New Year's because I thought it'd be kind of fun.
lot of folks are off work that week, and, you know,
The
kids are out.
so it might be good for them.
So, Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Adams,
My 2 cents in regards to that is, I would do it as a standalone event, and I think it's unique enough that I think it can stand on its own legs, so. Not that you're soliciting that, but since someone else brought up their idea, I would make it a standalone event.
One thing I would like to ask, we do photos when we give away checks and give away
I've been there.
If one of you would come and be part of that, we have some folks that do, but I'd like to encourage all of our partners to at least have somebody at one point in time during this to come and be part of that photo opportunity.
And to dovetail on what Mary Kay is saying, I do send an email to the Positively Putnam Partners Group announcing, try to give you guys at least 4 or 5 days in advance when we're going to do a check presentation. I know Commissioner Harvey has been in a couple of those in the past. And so, and I copy the chair, the current chairman, and the administrator whenever those emails go out. I can very easily add each commissioner's email to that list if you would like, so that you'll individually be aware of it along with the chairman and the administrator. But yes,
Okay.
we would like to have your faces in
Sure.
in the paper. We're all about names and faces in the Palaca Daily News.
okay, Michael, when we spoke the other day, that I'd just dream this up, since we were one of the original supporters of this, do we not get an extra discount off of this?
You're getting a discount.
I believe the answer is no.
That's what it sounded like to me.
Plus,
Get the same
you
discount
sandbagged
Rotary
me.
gives you.
You sandbagged me when you didn't tell me that you already had the money in the budget.
Yeah, I
Making
kind
me
of let
sweat.
the cat out of the bag on that one.
Yeah.
So, no, I
Can't take
wasn't
boy
gonna,
anywhere.
yeah, we're gonna let you know that, so. All right, all in favor of supporting the Positively Putnam, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Okay. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Mary
the
Kay,
kind
thank you.
support.
Okay, I'll go ahead and recess the workshop, and we'll move into the Port Authority workshop. Is there any public comment on any Port Authority items? Okay, seeing none public comment, we'll close the public comment portion. Any general discussion on Port Authority items from the commissioners? Okay, seeing none, we'll adjourn the Port Authority workshop, and we'll reconvene the Board of County Commission workshop. We move down to item B. Mrs. Sheila McCoy had to reschedule, so she'll come before us at our next, either our next workshop or next Board of County Commission meeting. So we'll move to Ms. Sarah with Human Resources. Item C, D, E, and F.
Good afternoon.
Move approval.
Hey, if you're good with that, I'm good with it.
I don't need a presentation unless y'all do. I've already read them.
Any questions?
I've read them all.
I agree with this afternoon.
Move approval.
Okay, all right, we got a proper motion and a proper second to move forward item C, D, E, F. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign.
All right.
Passes.
You want me to do yours? Well,
I was going to say, Mr. Chairman, can we go ahead and just keep this going?
I do have
The reason we
one
did hers
question.
So quickly is because we want more time for what's coming.
I'm gonna say, I don't think G's gonna go that easy.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Can I make a?
I'm so good.
Mr. Hurry?
Sarah, concerning our conversation this morning, the bereavement policy, do you know that right off the
it
top?
provides 3 days.
3 days.
3 days?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good deal. All right, good. And that's adequate?
And then, of course, if somebody needs additional time off or something, we work with their manager to, clear the schedule. Like, some people might need to go out of state, so they might need to take more than that 3 days.
Okay.
But we
3
work with
days
our
pay
employees.
For immediate family members or? Okay, good.
Yep.
And significant others? Okay, good.
Yep.
That's all. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
If someone, if,
I've lit my light as a result of that conversation.
Okay, I think,
I'd like for us to consider, did you have it? Did he have
Go
it
ahead.
lit?
go ahead.
I'd like for us to consider for a sibling, a parent, a child, maybe extending it to 5 business days. And I can tell you that when my stepfather died, 3 days would have never been close to enough for the things that we had to take care of. And I've never had this happen where I was close to where it happened. So it's the first experience I had in my life. Especially if someone has it for the first time. And I think 3 days is appropriate, like if you have an aunt or uncle that you gotta travel to Ohio or something, and I don't know if we even have anything for aunts, uncles, where that
That's
line.
included in
Okay.
family. Mhm.
So I'd like to see some delineation if possible. I don't know if the rest of the board would be, but if you could write something like that up, I think that would it would show us, I love the idea what our administrator said this morning, hey, we do whatever we can for the people. But if it's in policy, that's saying we're doing it no matter what to this level, and then something beyond that is something else. So I'd like to see if the board's willing, if she could write something to that effect, that for a direct sibling, parent, child, maybe do 5 days, just because there's a lot more involved in that. And I never knew that till I had it happen to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not
Need a wave for,
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, good.
I'm good.
thank you.
Commissioner Rawls?
If someone decided that they were gonna go job hunting, and they were gonna stick their toe in the water, came in and said, I wanna take time off without pay. Like, is that, whose discretion can somebody do that, and at what level can they decide that?
So what we have deemed, and also in this policy, and this is exactly what I talked about in manager training that we completed towards the end of the year, is that leave without pay is acceptable if it's medically related, FMLA, workers' comp, something like that. But, I mean, I didn't use the job hunting example. My HR guidance would say, no, they need to use their annual leave for that. Anytime somebody who wants to use leave without pay that's not because of a medical reason, it should go through the county administrator to approve that.
The reason I ask is if I was in a position to start looking for a job somewhere else and I was working for the county, all I would have to say is, I'm stressed out right now, I need to take some downtime. For my sanity, I just need to leave, I'll take leave without pay. What's to prevent other people from doing that if that happens? And part of my concern is, watching things unfold as they are, the county's gonna have a really hard time holding on to employees at the lower pay levels. But they also want to keep their insurance. And they know that they can go in and take this leave and be able to maintain the insurance and pay for it at some point. But how do what kind of safeguards do we have to prevent that from being abused?
So if somebody came to me and said, I need to take time out, I'm mentally exhausted, I'm stressed, I would give them FMLA paperwork. There would have to be some sort of medical certification associated with that before they could go or get on approved leave without pay. An example would be maybe we have a new employee who does not qualify for FMLA yet, but they have a medical reason. So we would get the medical certification, and it would be, depending on how long the illness and things like that, Mr. Suggs could approve leave without pay because that person was ineligible for that job protected leave.
Is there a way that we can, I'm not saying police them, but how do we ensure that they don't go to work somewhere else while they're on leave without pay?
Well, that's on the managers. I mean, that's the only thing I can do. You're right, we can't police every single person, but all of our managers and executive directors are aware that if an employee is using leave without pay on their timesheet, they should be checking with HR or administration to ensure that it's medical related, FMLA or workers' comp, or it has been approved. In certain situations, hey, I exhausted all of my leave because I was on FMLA, and now I need to be out of work to care for my child. Are you okay with leave without pay? I mean, there's obviously extenuating circumstances, where some people would need to use leave without pay that's not directly related to their medical condition. But we try to avoid that at all costs.
Okay, good. Paul?
The kind of flip side of that conversation, I don't know how much it would apply in a county type situation, but like in private business, like in Dell where I work, they've instituted a new thing where you could take 12 weeks of unpaid leave to, if you want to do missionary work in Africa or something, right? So that's part of the benefit package for a lot of companies now that could possibly be drawing people away from people like us or smaller companies, because they have that, it has to be approved by management and everything else. They have to make sure that your job isn't such a role that you can't be backfilled for that period. And sometimes it's 3 weeks, whatever it is. But it allows you not to utilize all your vacation time, all your other time, and still do that and know that you're coming home to a job and that you're not losing your health insurance because you went on a 3-week thing to Peru to help an orphanage or
Do
something.
they actually pay your health
No,
insurance?
no, they don't. You gotta pay it.
See, we pay it.
Yeah. So, maybe they do pay it. They might pay their percentage.
I don't know.
Yeah, I've never done it. I know people that do it. So that's the counter, I guess, to that is then you want to be concerned that you're not pulling something away that maybe be a future benefit that we may offer. I don't know.
And in my opinion, that's something that would be a conversation an employee would have with their manager.
Yep.
Hey, in August of this year, I'm going to Haiti for 3 weeks. I'm banking all my leave. Can you get this approved? I mean, to me, that's based on communication between the manager and the employee to help the employee, be approved for those types of trips.
Well, do we, if I may, Mr. Chairman, are you done, Commissioner? If somebody wanted to do that scenario, wanted to go to Haiti and didn't want to use their leave, wanted to leave without pay, do we have anything built in that say, I'll pay my health insurance premiums for those 3 weeks?
Yes.
And then I want to come back from Haiti and have a job?
Yes, the employee would be responsible for paying their portion of the benefits.
So it's a possibility now to get that worked out.
So they could do, we would, in HR, we could calculate how many hours of leave they would need to cover their benefits and retirement and things like that. And so they could have a small paycheck and then leave without pay for the other part. Again, that type of situation is really based on the employee communicating with management about what their goals are and what they're trying to do. And any kind of scenario like what you two just brought up, I can't imagine us denying it as long as we had enough notice from the employee as to what their plans were. Oh, did I misspeak? Okay.
Okay. All right, any other questions? Okay, all right, thank you, Sarah.
Sure.
Okay, we'll move down to item G, Information and Technology Core Router Purchase. James?
Move approval.
Second.
Somebody got questions, fine.
Yeah,
Other than that, I got it.
Any,
Basically, we got to have them, we don't have a choice.
we got a motion and a second.
okay, go ahead and make your motion
I
again.
did.
All
Move
right.
approval.
Move approval to purchase the routers as described. Okay, all right, so got a second by Commissioner Harvey, okay?
Does that include in here?
Yes, sir, that's for all county buildings and assets.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm good.
Call for question.
Okay, all in favor, indicate saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Thank you, sirs.
Now tell Sarah you did it faster than her next time she offers.
Yeah, let's see how fast trucks will move down.
Might not be too long.
I hope not.
Before he gets started, Mr. Chairman, can I make a comment, please?
Sure.
I think this discussion needs to be made on Tuesday, because this is in direct relation to ARPA. I mean, this plan has been presented, and I think it's a good plan that we,
It's the
No,
second one.
you're talking about H.
Oh, you're talking about the second
You're
one.
talking about I.
We're talking about the Bobcat.
oh,
We're gonna-
move approval.
We're trying to get some more equipment for District One,
Yeah,
so
well,
I'm
yeah,
hoping this is
exactly.
gonna move.
The only,
Forward,
move
'cause I got-
approval with the thing that you at least got to use it every now and then in District 3.
Second.
Okay, we got a proper
We
motion.
have a question.
Okay, got a proper motion to move forward item H and a proper second now for Questions, Commissioner Harvey?
Just one thing, and I think you and I spoke about it before the meeting. If we're gonna get that Bobcat skid steer, I do think that in the future, it would behoove us to have that mower on the front of it like we talked about. I don't know what the cost of that would be, but it saves a lot of manpower and it's very economical, so. Okay, that's all.
Along those lines, did you ever get the price on, you were gonna get one of those mulching machines heads that went on top of one of them fancy mowing machines, them side mowers that we bought last year?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever get one of them?
Yeah, you approved that last year, and we have it.
So we already have one on the mowing machine that's a mulching head, so the
I
mower
just never
you're,
seen it in District 4.
well, it probably never will, because they keep it down in District 1 in Bill's barn.
I don't have a barn.
In District 1's county barn,
By the
let
time
me rephrase
They leave
that.
it at
Do you have a way to move this thing around?
Georgetown Park.
Yeah, you
Yes,
probably
yeah.
trailer.
You guys also approved trailers, and
Same
those are,
trailers from last year can,
those are on order as well, the
Is there a
trailers.
reason we bought a Bobcat instead of a Kubota? I see them being used a lot.
We talked about, we did talk about that, and I'm not convinced the Bobcat, or the Kubota is the way to go. Our folks like the Bobcat first and foremost. I think it's a slightly better machine than a Kubota, but we did talk about a Kubota.
I'm good, call for question.
this Kubota owner would disagree, but I'm fixing to switch to Yanmar, so there you go.
I said this attachment, one mower will go for the mowing side of the roads, but the other attachment will go on the new Bobcat that you're getting. Is that correct?
Well,
Or an existing Bobcat?
these two are one skid steer and one pull behind 10-foot
Right.
mower deck. That's all
Offset
that's all that is.
Two items unrelated.
Yeah.
Exactly, but I understand the mower will go behind the mowing tractor,
Right.
because the other one's gonna go on the attachment for the Bobcat that you're purchasing. Or do you already have the Bobcat in service?
No, he's not gonna
Now, this is the purchase of the new Bobcat.
He
Well,
won't have it.
what we talked about, the mulching head was for the mower max that's been
Yeah.
purchased already, and we have.
Okay.
So the Bobcat won't have an attachment on there at all, right?
Bobcat will, this is just the bare bones. It'll have a bucket and a blade, and then that's it. But we have the ability now to get Harley rakes, to get
Yeah.
mowing detachments, to get all this other stuff. Whether we
Trenching
buy it
machine,
or,
trencher, auger.
yeah, whether we buy it or rent it, it's very simple.
Okay, we got a
Need to
problem.
borrow that stuff, let me know, I got all of it.
Oh, I'm sorry, Paul.
So, I don't want to start the new year off like this, but I can't vote yes without seeing comparable prices and stuff to other, whether it's Kubota or whatever else there is out there. And I would love to, and if we get that comparable price, then say your justification, we're used to using this, and then let us decide if, or at least from my perspective, let me make some sort of decision based on, I don't know if a Kubota is 50 grand or it's, what's the savings? Is it a difference of $800? If it's different $150, is it different of $10,000?
I can tell you this is in line with Kubota.
Okay, I'm just saying, I'd like to see that data on here, that way when the public looks at it too, they say, okay, we looked at 3 different options, and we chose it based on what's best use, what we're used to using, and this doesn't give me the ability to explain to someone why we just single source something, but, and I get it, it's a little bit different because we're buying off the state contract,
Correct.
but I do like to see the different options.
Commissioner Turner?
I don't disagree with that, but we've been talking about this Bobcat now since the middle of last year. So I'm gonna vote yes for this one today, but I'm with Commissioner Adamsack, actually, if we could have some kind of an idea. In other words, I know there's a state contract for Kubota too.
Correct.
And I think they're equal.
They're about
Kinda
equal,
like, do you drive a Ford or a Chevrolet? It's about the same thing. So, if the Kubota's cheaper on the state contract, I'd like to know that, because if it's an equal, or any kind of equipment that's equal, instead of just picking a Ford or a Chevrolet, pick whatever's the least money on the contract. But for today, I'm gonna vote for to move this forward.
Okay, I agree. It'd be nice to have that information for just being able to compare it. Commissioner Rawls?
From personal experience, we've replaced 4 hydraulic lines in the past few months on our Kubota. Very easy to get to, very easy to work on. We are leasing a Bobcat excavator, a lot more complicated. So all I'm going to encourage you to do is pick a platform and stick with it. If it's going to be Bobcat, stick with Bobcat. If it's going to be Caterpillar, Kubota, stick with that. But it'll drive your people crazy having multiple pieces of equipment, and especially from a maintenance perspective, because these things are easy to work on. I imagine we're not gonna send it off to be repaired every time it breaks a hydraulic line or,
Correct.
and they're going to.
No, we'll do some of it in-house, like
Yeah.
hydraulic lines are
Yeah.
pretty simple.
Question.
Okay, got a proper motion, proper second, all in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 4-1.
Okay, now may I make my statement about the item I?
Yeah, we're gonna move down to item I, if you're ready.
Okay, yes, sir.
Okay.
I think this needs to go to Tuesday's ARPA workshop. I mean, it's a really good plan. He's worked very hard on it, him and his staff, to put it together and give many options to bring to the board, but every single one of these options depends on ARPA. It's all ARPA. So, you know, I'm hoping that between it, I'm sure that everybody already has, but I'm hoping that they'll study this very hard between now and Tuesday, if possible. And this be discussed as part of the ARPA workshop or not, because it's basically, how many phases, if any, are we gonna fund? It's already put together. I think that this afternoon, even though it's not part of the agenda, I think what we ought to be talking about, and that definitely needs to be part of Tuesday's agenda for the ARPA meeting, is we've already approved the design and the bid of that thing that we've been talking about for 3 years in East Palaca, where they've got to do a variable speed to keep from buying a second water tower, do a variable speed thing with this newer technology they have out now, that in the long run is gonna save us a bunch of money. And then if the water tower comes offline, we'll be able to still continue this system on, working this system. We gave them the go-ahead to do it, but we didn't fund it yet, because we didn't know if it was gonna come out of general funds or ARPA. So I think that needs to be discussed Tuesday. I think this water line sustainability, there's also that I didn't realize until today, maybe y'all knew it and I just got by me, but they've received a $4 million+ grant to put in sewer lines in basically the same area where 1A is on the water system here. So if we funded 1A, we'd have water and sewer in there, but like I said, that would, it all ties together with having the money to do it, and it's all got to be ARPA money. There's just no other money there to do it. So, I would request that we take that item I, unless Mr. Troxel has a problem with it, and put it on Tuesday's ARPA workshop, and we discuss it as part of the overall ARPA funding, because other things have to come into this. The communication system estimates, the portion of it that like the tower, that we do have some money there possibly to pay for it different if we wanted to fund more water. I mean, it's just like a big comprehensive plan that we've all got to get our heads together and try to decide where or how we're going to use this money to, in my opinion, to make taxes lower in the future for Putnam County by making the water system sustainable, the sewer system sustainable, which y'all asked me to take a look at, get the East Palaca water thing fixed, which we've been trying to do for several years, and finally came up with a really good solution. So he's working on that. So, but I think that and the communication system and how we're going to handle it has got to be as all one big package discussed at one time. So thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Adamsack, did you have your line on? No. Commissioner Harvey?
Yeah, I think Commissioner Turner's right on. We need to have this on Tuesday, but I do want to ask a couple of questions, and you don't have to answer them today. Just know that I'm going to probably ask them again. I will ask them again on Tuesday. You know, we're trying to get this water system to make money eventually and take the debt off take the burden off the general fund that's continuing to happen. I'm not sure that it's just ARPA funds, or we can't reach out to the legislators this year. They have extra money, and you've heard me talk about that before. Maybe this is a broader project that they might take on, as other infrastructure projects that they've alluded to me that could possibly end up in their coffers this year. So I think it's important. I made mention a few weeks back that we design a letter and ask for more funding for certain things. So I do think it's important that we do that. And the number 2 point I want to make is are we going to make people hook up to this water? And running a line is one thing, but saying, okay, now that the water's there, we're gonna, so those are the questions I'll be asking on Tuesday, okay?
If I may, I think I'm next,
Yeah.
all right, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
That's definitely part of the deal. We've talked to Sam Sullivan, and he thinks, to the best of his opinion, I hope he's watching this on TV, where if I say something wrong, he'll run in here with his arms flailing. But
That would be funny to see.
we're pretty certain that at this point, that we can hook them up to the system as part of the ARPA money too. And he's also fairly certain, and I have to say fairly because this thing changes every minute of every day, but he's also fairly certain that we can go back to people who live along the existing lines. And for a certain period of time, we can say, if you'll hook up, we'll pay for it for a certain period of time if you want to hook onto our system. Because I'm telling the commission now, the next step in sustainability that I'm going after in this is going to be, if you live next to one of our water lines and your well goes out or your pump goes out, not a pump, but a well, that the health department won't issue you a permit, you got to hook up to our system instead of drilling a new well. So I think we've got to do that, and it's got to be part of the sustainability package if we're gonna have utilities. If we can get that done and we can get the people done, I talked to Mr. Troxel about it, and we think that we're approximately 1,000 people away from water. From breaking even, that's correct. That's a very doable number with phase 1 and 2A of the water and paying to hook people up along the existing line. We'll be to the 1,000. We're close, and on the sewer side, we're close. And if we get this new sewer grant put in, that's basically where phase 1 water is on your map, then that should put us over the top on sustainability on the sewer side of it. So we're getting there, and it's not as far off or as difficult as what we all thought to start with. I know this isn't a sustainability, so if you bear with me just a second, Mr. Chairman. The part of this is that I looked at different notes and the things we could possibly pay off with some better, not Better Place money, but with some reserves to keep from paying Better Place money towards that note and different things. But it seems like every one of them's got a catch to them. If you pay this off, you don't get that grant. Or if you do, I mean, every one of them's got a catch. Just about every single time we look, there's like, help me out, Julianne, but there's like 6 notes or something on this thing, and 6 different notes that they borrowed over the years, and each one of them, there's 3 of them, and don't hold me to these numbers, but there's like 3 of them that are tagged to the Better Place plan. So I'm thinking, well, if we can get those paid off, just the ones that are tagged to the Better Place plan, we can take that money and use it towards roads and whatever, and we've got $3 million or so, maybe it's $2 million, that we've already got set aside in Better Place that we can't spend because we have to hold this money because the loan goes out further than the Better Place does. So if we paid off those percentage of those loans, which has to be part of this discussion, then you wouldn't have to hold that other $2 million. So if you got to hold it anyhow, why not pay the $2 million to them and be done with it? Put another few $100,000 with it, and you're done with those three of those loans. What we haven't been able to determine yet is there's certain ones of those loans that because we have them, we get certain grants throughout the year because of them. And so what we don't want to do is lose a grant because we paid one off too quick, if that makes sense. So Julianne's still working on that some, I know she is, and it's just been a month or 2 since we've actually had time to sit down and talk about that particular issue. But all this has got to tie together as the sustainability for the utility system, and we're just not that far off, guys. If we could just, getting that $4 million was a big deal. That $4 million sewer thing was a really big deal. And if we getting some ARPA money poured into this thing into phase 1 and 2A, that'd be a real big deal, but it'd even be a bigger deal if we could take part of that money and set it aside to hook the people up as we go. Gonna be a tremendous deal for sustainability. Then the citizens don't have to pay anymore. Like Commissioner Adams Act said, it bothered him that citizens had to put money in this system. They won't have to do that anymore. It'll sustain itself, and then anything they tie on in the future, hopefully they'll go to making enough money, they can hook up their own people and work on their own stuff and not have tax dollars put in it to make it work. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman, for bearing with that tirade.
Okay, any other questions? Do you have any more comments about this? Is it okay with the commission to move this forward to next Tuesday?
Sure.
As an agenda item, and who's gonna present it? You're gonna present it?
I'll present
as
it.
you were
That was,
today?
and that was the impetus for me bringing it to this workshop ahead of the 18th ARPA workshop that you guys
I'm
are gonna
really
have.
glad you
So,
did, because it gave the commissioners the opportunity to look at your plan and to see and to let it soak in a few days before we start talking about it on Tuesday. And of course, there's 4 or 5 phases of this thing. Some of them are just wishes, but if we could somehow get some point in the future, get through phase 1 and 2, and then hopefully, that might be a time that if we're generating enough revenues off of it that we're not having to put money in, then we could borrow the money and take that money to generate more money to maybe go to phase 3 or phase 4 or down the future and what have you. So, but that's pie in the sky talk at this time. That's just-
well, I believe we're also working with the Corps of Engineers to try to fund some of this stuff through another process. And that was mostly everything in East Palaca that we're working on.
Well, and that may pop up, like Commissioner Harvey said, the state may come up with a thing, the big push on utilities, or a big, the feds may, or somebody come up with a big thing on utilities, and if we could possibly get some more money in the future, the more we make this sustainable or even positive revenue, then the better off the citizens of the county are gonna be.
Right now, we're open, St. John's River Water Management open with their gifting program. Have y'all looked at anything?
We look at stuff all the time. There's a lot of stuff for.
They just open up. this next
I'll
round
have
of
to check
grants.
on that one, but typically it's the grants we look at are if we are using alternative water sources, and it's what we have is not an alternative water source.
Well, I know they've done cost share before on that.
I'm sorry,
They've done cost share before on that system, water management.
for our water system?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll check into it though, if it's just
Yeah.
open. But I wanted to say that, phase 1A has already been designed, I'm expecting the 100% design drawings this month. So that would be ready to go, other than permitting. Then, of course, I've got a cost for 1B, which is just shy of 30 grand from the same designer that did phase 1A. So I just
Like
wanted
I
to,
said, I think that's got to be talked about as part of the ARPA discussion on Tuesday, and I really appreciate you bringing this to us today. I really do, because it gives us the opportunity to think about this some and not just be shoved all at us at one time on Tuesday, because that's got to be one big plan. That ARPA deal's got to be one big plan.
and I'm up to, if you guys have any other questions, let me know, and I'll try to answer them prior to.
It closes quickly. Just opened up.
Commissioner Adams, you had comments?
I like everything I heard from Commissioner Turner. I hope that we can become sustainable. I think it is possible. I'm not sure if this quite gets us there, but I don't know until we hear all the information. This looks definitely closer to anything I've seen to date. The one thing I do want to reiterate, I still think it's important for us to, as a Public Works Department or as a county commission, as the county, we look to other suppliers of water and sewer in the county, which is the cities, and we see if we can start meeting with them to possibly partner, again, to start expanding their systems out into where we're never gonna be able to build a system. That requires us to start having these meetings with the different entities. And I just want to re-encourage that we start having those sooner than later, especially for the outskirts of Palaca. And you're talking about there's potential in Penal areas, very populated. There's all different areas that don't have any services that are low-hanging fruit if you can just get the pipes there. Kind of like 1A and 1B is. I don't know if 3 and 4 necessarily, 1 and 2 are. 3 and 4 are a little bit more of a stretch. I think there's other areas of the county next to municipalities that are more in line with what 1A and 1 and 2 look like. So I think we need to be pushing those conversations and maybe seeing if there's grant opportunities combining the county with those municipalities, vice versa, to basically partner up, because that's what's in the best interest of our community, in my opinion. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Turner?
A few years ago, the city changed their rules that said you could buy city water and sewer, pay more for it if you're outside of the city limits. It's my understanding that at the present time, they're not honoring that. In order to get on the city water or sewer, you have to annex, is what I was told recently. Now, that may be inaccurate, but that's what I was told. And so, you know, that's the biggest setback to, at this point, to the city's, system, is that to get it outside of the city limits, I don't know that they do that at the moment. That would be a question that somebody would have to ask them.
Need to meet with them and ask them. I think they're willing to do it. It's low-hanging fruit for them. They don't have to provide the other services.
I don't know, they might be using it as a reason for you to annex, because they're wanting to grow the size of the city, and if they give out the main service they have for a little more, but not as much as it would cost to have more taxes, then the people aren't gonna sign up to be in the city, they'll just pay the additional water and sewer. It's a money thing, so.
But for them to be in the city, they got to provide police, fire, and rescue, trash collection. They don't have to do that if they sell water and sewer. And I think they're, you know, in some of the conversations I had with the commissioners, they are willing to look at it. Yeah, I don't know what the price difference would be, and, but a lot of cities do that, and they make good money on it.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
We'll never get there if we don't have the
No,
conversation.
I agree 100%. No, I'm on board.
Okay, all right.
Trying to give you that information was all.
All right. Anything else on this item? Okay, so we'll move that to the workshop on Tuesday?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I think I neglected to have public comment on agenda items, didn't I, gentlemen? So I'm gonna open it up for public comment on agenda items. Seeing none, I will close the public comment portion. JR, do you have anything? Okay. All right, we'll move down to commissioner comments. I'll start with Commissioner Rawls. He said he had to leave early, but we're moving on.
I'm like I said before, I'm glad to be back, glad we got a new, regular business year ahead of us. I would like to dig into the budget again, take a look at it, do some forecasting, get our strategic plan out, start taking a look at that with our budget, and you know, we agreed that we would start having these on a quarterly basis. So we're in the first quarter, first week of the first quarter, or first meeting of the first quarter. So otherwise, I'm good.
Okay. Commissioner Harvey?
Yeah, I want to thank Mr. Troxel, St. John's Avenue. The patches showed back up out there where the water line busted again. So
It's going to continue to happen.
I know. We're looking forward to the master plan you're going to present to us. So, you know, because that's, I get a lot of complaints about, you know, why are y'all doing this? And I wish we could move those pipes out of there. But that's all I got, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Turner?
I have nothing to add.
Mr. Adamsack?
Yeah, I guess along that, I don't know, I'm good actually. I think we had pretty good meetings today, so
Okay.
we'll leave it at that.
Okay. Also, I think we had a pretty good meeting this morning, good today. I know we've had the conversations that former Chairman Harvey and Mayor Hill have had conversations about meeting with the city of Palatka. I've continued those conversations with Mayor Hill, and he's going to send some dates to Sarah. And then we can take a look at those maybe at our next meeting of, hopefully we'll have them by then, where we can meet. And I'm going to push for definitely an agenda, so we know what we're going to talk about when we go in. I'm not saying we can't talk about something that comes to mind, but I think we need to have a pretty structured agenda of what the topics are going to be about. Exactly. So we'll move forward with that. And County Administrator?
I have no comments, Mr. Chairman. We'll see you at 5:05.
Okay. All right. Seeing no further business, we're adjourned. Whoa.
Public comment now. On miscellaneous items.
Oh, that's on the back.
That's on the back. So.
Is there anybody
Okay.
else wants to talk?
At this time, don't everybody rush up to the podium at once. I'll open up for public comment on miscellaneous items.
There you go.
Okay, seeing none, I'll close that portion, and we stand adjourned. Thank you for keeping me straight. I was gonna try to set some kind of record.